Hey, I didn't see you for a long time. Got some problems actually. First my editor got sick then here, so he couldn't edit while I was traveling, and I couldn't edit because I was traveling. And after that I got sick actually because of COVID, had to quarantine myself, and I just thought, come, let's write this 2 weeks off. But we finally arrived on Bali. As you can see, I really missed this place for the past 3 years, so good to be here now. I would say that's perfect to do a long overdue video, my 1000 subscribers special, where I want to give a few shout outs to channels that are either underrated or where I at least see a lot of potential. And I will also give you some tips about YouTube. Let's go. But before we talk about the channels and tips, there is one more thing that I wanted to do here on Bali for a long time. Let's do it. Let's start with the channel shoutouts, and I divided it a little bit because just 5 channels I figured out wasn't really doing it. So I chose 4 channels in English language, 2 channels as German language that you will find in the progress bar as chapter, so you can skip that if you don't speak German. That's why I divided that here. And then I also have 2 more channels where I see potential, but there I just want to give some tips because I wouldn't follow them now, but maybe in the future if certain things get better. So let's start with the first channel, and that is Michael Z. And I actually watched some of his videos recently because, you know, I'm a Fujifilm user and he has some nice Fujifilm example videos. That's what he seems to do on his channel. He does like camera example videos, but mainly Fujifilm focused there. So if you're into Fuji, then that's a channel that you might want to watch. And what I like about his channel is definitely the quality. It's all quality content. You can see that he knows what he's doing there. But what I'm missing a bit is that instead of only doing camera examples or showing your trips or whatever, also talk a bit about your experiences there, because especially when I see someone doing great stuff with a camera, I would also like to hear his thoughts. And I think that could help your channel grow a little bit, because only posting footage from your trips and doing that in the context of reviewing a camera, even if you don't talk about the camera, actually is a good starting point, but I feel like there's something missing. So try to also talk a bit about that. I think that can greatly help you to grow your channel. And I would also recommend you to think a bit more about the ideas of videos and the titles, because that is also where many channels can improve in that one as well. So I think that will also gain you more views and subscribers. And let's come to the next channel, which is Ashley Jo. And I was actually really surprised when I saw her channel because the storytelling is really good. And to be honest, I did not see many female creators that do storytelling or generally videos in that way and actually that good. So big thumbs up here. If there's something that I would say to make better at first, your consistency. I saw your last big upload was 4 months ago. I think if you upload more frequently, you will have big success. It's already 10,000 subscribers. Then I think the 100,000 subscribers should also not be that far away. And aside from that, sometimes you could tell the story a little bit quicker at certain paces. Like sometimes I feel that something is explained a bit too long, but well, that comes over time. Like the more you do story-driven videos, the better you get at it. But yeah, definitely check out her channel, Ashley Jo. I will leave links to all of those channels in the description, by the way, so there you find them. And the next channel I wanted to show you is Christopher Way, which is still pretty small at 2,300 subscribers, but which is actually not bad because he published only 6 videos so far. I understand why he got over 2,000 subscribers with only 6 videos, because he also has really nice quality. He also shoots videos there with the X-T4, A7 IV, and the X100V, so it's also about cameras there, and especially Fujifilm. This is why I watched his channel before. And also great quality. Some of his videos are story driven, which I really liked in his case, but also the same as with Ashley. Keep it a bit shorter at certain parts, then it's a bit easier to watch. I feel that there are sometimes a few informations that I don't really need to get the story, so you can leave that away. But yeah, check out his channel, especially if you're into Sony. I think you will be really happy there. And also, Christopher, publish more videos. I see last video 13 days, then 1 month, 2 months. publish more. That is really what differentiates the successful channels over time from the unsuccessful ones. So good job, Christopher. And our next channel is Daniel Brynn, who already has a lot of videos on his channel. He does some street photography tutorials and content about his safaris in Africa. And I also really enjoyed watching his videos, and this channel is definitely underrated. Like, he has a ton of videos there already and only 6,000 subscribers. I think that what his channel is missing is just a few videos that really take off. So Daniel, also just work on ideas and on titles, and of course, I mean, your thumbnails are good overall. Maybe you could have a bit less text in some of them, but yeah, that's why I would say, like, thumbnails generally are not bad. That's why I would focus on ideas and titles. And yeah, so if you're not subscribed to Daniel's channel yet, definitely subscribe, especially if you're interested in street photography and safaris in Africa, something that I still want to do. You won't be disappointed. And I would say let's come to the German channels, but we have to check out now from our hotel and have to go to the next one. So there I will continue. Quite funny. I just want to start my FPV drone, and in that moment, poof, I heard a drone crashing into the water. Fuck. Now everyone is looking for his drone. That's so nice about Asia. The locals always directly help when they see stuff like that. It's a pretty heavy current though, so I don't think you will find it. That's why if you want to fly through stuff like that, you should always first train it in a safe environment without water. Yeah, the FPV drone got a little bit wet, and my goggles. Yeah, that didn't go as planned. Smashed the FPV drone and my goggles into the water. Both were broken. That's why I got the DJI Avata now with the goggles too. With that, this accident would not have happened. And yeah, you can imagine lots of chaos again. So I messed it up. We're already back in Thailand. But I would say it's finally time to talk about the two German channels and another two channels where I see a bit of potential. And the German channels are Phil and Caro Reisen. Yeah, I pronounce it German. Otherwise it doesn't make much sense. And Better Beyond. Both are actually nice channels, mostly vlogging oriented about their world travels, which I actually find super interesting. But I think to get more views, guys, do a bit more value driven videos. Like, really ask yourself, what do people want to know about certain places and so on, because that drives more viewers to your channels, and then your views will also get higher. I see on both channels it's about the same, always a couple hundred views or so, and I think there is a lot more potential. So try to like mix your vlogs up more with value. I see both channels do that a little bit, but it could be a lot more. So think about that. And yeah, if you're from Germany, definitely follow those channels. Again, Phil and Caro Reisen, I will link it in the description below, and Better Beyond. Definitely fun to watch. And there are also another two English channels that I wanted to mention here that I think they could become bigger if they do certain things. And the first one is Today Travels, and there I really love the quality. The audio quality is great. I think he oftentimes has a person following with a gimbal and so on. What really looks nice. It's definitely something special about it. Not many channels do that. But today your content is just way too long. Like, I feel that it's very hard to listen because it takes so long to get the information. You can really cut that a lot shorter, and that makes it so much easier to listen, that I think that's really the next step for your channel, and that could grow it a lot quicker. So overall, I think your quality is great. Just really focus on cutting the fluff out and make it easier to consume, and I think there's a lot of potential. And the other channel is Manuel Mendes, and there's also like the quality is through the roof. Actually, you can definitely tell that he knows his stuff, but there are only a couple hundred subscribers. And what I'm missing here on your channel, Manuel, is that you never show your face or something. Like, you have all this great content there, but I don't see who is behind the channel. Like, the channel name is Manuel Mendes, so I want to see a person there that I can follow and that I know makes these awesome videos that are already there. It's like my first point. And the second point is to produce more videos. Just be a bit more consistent, because this is also something that I see there could just be more regular content. And I think that is actually a channel that has a lot of potential. Like, if you watch his channel, you're like, wow, that feels like short movies. If there's no potential, then I don't know. So lots of interesting channels there that are a bit smaller and that you can get a lot of inspiration from. But what about your channel? I would say let's give you some more tips. And as so often, I have 3 tips for you, and the first one is to spend at least 30 to 60 minutes on crafting the idea of your video, and that is different than the topic. You usually already have a topic in mind before you start planning or even shooting a video, but the idea of the video really defines the angle on the topic. So for example, when we talk about the DJI Avata, I can, for example, plan a video DJI Avata review, or I can go further and say, is the DJI Avata good enough for beginners, or is it a good entry-level FPV drone? And you see here, both are reviews overall, but the angle of the video is completely different. Like in the second example, we at first define a niche, so we target beginners there, and I also ask a question. These are just 2 examples. The more you think about it, the more ideas you will get to frame the DJI Avata review that you would like to do differently. Of course, it counts for every other topic, and the reason why that is important is because depending on the idea of your video, you make it more or less interesting. Like if I only read DJI Avata review, yeah, there are tons of DJI Avata reviews out there, but if I read a question like, is the DJI Avata suitable for beginners or something like that, and I'm a beginner that wants to get into FPV, I feel that you talk more to me, and that can get you more clicks overall. And I would actually recommend you to do that as your very first step, because after that you already have the title ready, and based on the title you can then plan your thumbnail or your video, actually both, because the thumbnail and the video of course also need to fit to your title. Like if your title says, is the DJI Avata suitable for beginners, and then you just do a general review of it, that doesn't work. Then the viewer feels you didn't answer the question. So in that case, you really have to review the DJI Avata from the perspective of a beginner, like asking yourself, what is important for him, what does he want from this drone, and really align your video with that. So overall, you can say that crafting the idea of your video gives your video a clear direction, and that makes everything a lot easier. And my second tip here is to stop just vlogging. And I'm not saying that you should not vlog. Vlogs are definitely cool and interesting, but you have to admit that if no one knows you, no one cares about your life. Like, why should someone follow you through your day? Or even me when I'm on Bali or here in Thailand, there are thousands if not millions of people every year traveling to those places, and lots of them publish vlogs or other videos about it online. So why should people watch my videos? And the answer is that instead of just vlogging, you should actually provide value, like make some videos that give information that are people interested in, or at least something that is entertaining or that people can relate to. When we talk about Casey Neistat, for example, he was already a bit famous before he started vlogging, but despite that, his YouTube channel only really took off after he published that bike lanes video, as far as I know. And there you can tell that was a video where many New Yorkers could relate to, and therefore it got shared a lot. People liked how fun to watch it is. It was very entertaining for that sake, and that is something that you have to come up with. Don't expect by just vlogging around that people magically start following you and everyone thinks you're a star or something like that. Yeah, I should turn the sound of my MacBook off. That was a mistake, you could hear that? No, I'm out. But yeah, you get what I mean. Always try to provide value to your audience. It's also what I'm doing constantly in my videos, and that is why you should subscribe, by the way. And I know my channel is usually more about making your videos look good, and of course you don't want to spend so much time doing so, which is why I would recommend you, when you get a new camera, or even with your existing one if you don't know it well yet, spend a few days and maybe even 1 or 2 weeks with your camera, where you constantly get some test shots, you try out different settings and so on, you watch tutorials, and then you go on your computer and you try to color grade it. And during this process, just figure out the best settings for your camera and your best dial configuration, so that you can use your camera most efficiently, and that even later during your edit you have an easy time color grading the footage. Sometimes that means that you can't use the camera always to its full potential, but that's totally fine. If it saves you a lot of time and if it still looks good, then that is actually the best process that you can use on YouTube. That counts for me as well. I also spend a lot of time with the Fujifilm X-H2S, for example, now to figure out my best settings, both for run and gun video shooting, but also when I'm inside here and so on. There are still a few tweaks that I want to make, and then I have this camera set up perfectly. So actually I have this camera already nearly 3 months. So you see it sometimes takes a lot of time. Like in the first 2 weeks I was dialing in the basics, and everything else I have to figure out later, because there are always some issues that you find with every camera that come up later, and then you think, okay, if I maybe change some buttons a little bit, or I use another picture profile or some other settings, then you can make that easier for yourself. So do that. And for the Fujifilm users that consider the X-H2S, I will also publish a settings video soon, and lots of other videos about this camera because it's amazing. But yeah, also for the non-Fuji users, I have lots of other videos. One you will find here where I teach you how to make more cinematic videos. Hope you enjoyed that, and see you there.